Hello everyone, my name is Arohi and welcome to my channel. So guys, in my today's video I'll show you how to create your own ChatGPT clone using LangChain, Streamlit and OpenAI API. First, let me show you the demo of the app which we are going to build, and then we'll dive into the details of how to create that app. This is my demo app, and let's ask a question to this app. Which LLM are you using to generate responses? So here you can see it is utilizing GPT-3. So GPT-3 is a large language model by OpenAI. The app which we are going to build today, in that app I have specified that I want to use GPT-3 LLM for generating responses. Now let's ask the same question to the ChatGPT. Okay, now let's open ChatGPT. So let's ask the same question to the ChatGPT. So the ChatGPT app is using GPT-4 to generate responses, and this is again another LLM by OpenAI, and this LLM is more advanced than the GPT-3. So why I'm using GPT-3? Because the cost to use GPT-3 is cheaper as compared to the GPT-4 LLM. Now let's ask another question to it. So let's say I'm writing, once upon a time there lived, and then hit enter. See, here you can see that our app continues the story with the next few lines. Okay, now let's ask another question to our app. Write a program of simple neural network. See, here we have a code for simple neural network. So here you can see our app is providing us answers. Now this kind of application we are going to build today. Let's see how does it work. So first we are typing a prompt, we are asking a question, and then we hit enter. Then this triggers a call to the OpenAI API, and through that API we access the GPT-3 model, which is a large language model, and then LLM processes that input and generate a response, and after that we are displaying that response on a screen using Streamlit. And what is Streamlit? Streamlit is a Python library for developing web applications. It is similar to Flask or Django. Okay, this is the overview which we are going to build today. Now let's get started with the step-by-step process. The first step is to set up the environment to run ChatGPT clone. And for our today's tutorial, I'll be using Anaconda. And if you don't already have Anaconda installed, then download and install it from the official Anaconda website. And after installing Anaconda, we will create a separate environment for our today's task. Now open Anaconda prompt. Okay, this is my Anaconda prompt. And now let's deactivate this base environment first. First step is to create an environment variable. So for that we are using conda create -n. This is the environment name. Okay, so I want to create an environment with this name, and I want to use Python 3.10 for it. So hit enter. Write while. Now the environment is created. Now we need to activate the environment, and for that just copy this from here, paste it here and hit enter. Our environment is activated. Now inside this environment we will install all the packages which are needed for our today's class. Before that we will first upgrade the pip, and then we'll install the packages. So this is the command to upgrade the pip. Now pip is upgraded. Now I have a requirements.txt file in which I have mentioned all the modules which are needed for our today's class. So let me go into the folder where I have that requirement.txt file. cd. So this is the folder where my code is. Let me open this folder. Here you can see. This is my requirements.txt file. Let's open this file. These are the requirements which we want to install, and these requirements are present in which folder? Inside this second gen app folder, I have this ChatGPT clone folder. Inside it we have the requirements. So here just cd to the ChatGPT clone folder, and here we will write pip install -r requirements.txt, and this will install all the required packages. Now that our environment is set up, we are ready to start creating the app. So let's understand the coding part now. So guys, for my today's tutorial, the code which is required is here, the requirement.txt file is here, and .env file is here, okay, in this folder, and I have provided the link of this code in description section. So now I'm going to open this code here. First, we are importing the required modules. This is the OS module. Then we are importing the Streamlit module because we are creating a web application using Streamlit. Then we are using this OpenAI module from LangChain _OpenAI. Why we need this module? Because today we are going to build our ChatGPT clone using the OpenAI API, and to use that we need to import this OpenAI. And then these two lines are to load the environment variables. Now what are environment variables? So guys, when you want to use OpenAI LLMs, then you need a API key to access it, and that API key we will access, that API key we will use in our code using this module, okay. Where I have that API key, where we need to write that API key. So for that we have created one .env file. So when you open this .env file, inside this OpenAI API key, and here you have to mention your API key. This key will not work. You have to create your own API key. Now let me show you how to create your own API key. So to generate your own OpenAI API key, you first need to sign up on openai.com, and let me show you. Once you'll sign up and log into your OpenAI account, and here you will see the API keys. So in my case, I have one API key. So to create an API key, you need to click on this create new secret key, and here you can provide the name. This is optional, and then let it be like this only, and then click on create secret key. You'll get your API key. After that, save that API key, copy this API key, and then paste that API key over here and save this .env file, okay. Now this is the environment variable you needed for our today's class. Then we have this st.title. st.title sets the title of the Streamlit web application. What is the title? ChatGPT like clone. And in our application, this is what we have. Here we are retrieving our OpenAI API key from environment variables, and this line will only work if you have stored your OpenAI API key in the .env file. Over here, we are storing the GPT 3.5 Turbo as the default LLM model for our app. This means that whenever user first visits your app, this model will be used unless we change it manually. And guys, we can also work with other LLMs of OpenAI like GPT-4 and GPT-4o in order to make this app more flexible. So guys, what is the reason why we are setting the default model to GPT 3.5? Because every time when we ask a question in this app, there is a cost associated with it. OpenAI charges for the API usage based on the number of tokens processed. So tokens are just individual words in the input and the output, okay. So GPT 3.5 is cheaper as compared to GPT-4 and 4o. That's why we have set our default LLM model to GPT 3.5 over here. And then over here in this line, we are initializing the chat history. So here we are checking if messages are already there in the Streamlit session state, and if messages are not in Streamlit session state, then we will create a list with the name of messages, and this list will be responsible to store all the prompts which user will type and all the replies which our ChatGPT will provide us. So all those messages will be stored in this messages list only. So let's understand this with the help of our app. Here right now we don't have any messages on the Streamlit app. So that means messages list will be created. So now let's ask a question here, any question. Now we have a question and this is the reply. This is the prompt user added and this is the response from the model. Now all the messages from users or from bot, they will be stored in this messages list. This is just storing the chat history, and chat history means all the previous messages from the users and the ChatGPT. And then once we have all those messages in the messages list, then this code is responsible to display those messages on the screen. So we are able to see the messages over here on the Streamlit app. This is happening because of this for loop. Now this piece of code is responsible for interaction between the user and the response from the ChatGPT. In this first line, our app is accepting the messages from users through this chat input. Here you can see this chat input, this input box. So our app is accepting all the messages from this input box, and after that we have this session state dot messages dot append messages. Remember, we have created a messages list, and in that list we are going to store all the messages of the users and the chatbot. So whatever user will type, when the user will hit enter, that message will go into the message list and we are appending the message list, and after that we are displaying that message on the screen. This piece of code is responsible to display the user message using this Streamlit's chat underscore message. Then with the help of this code, our ChatGPT app will retrieve a response from the OpenAI model, which we have specified here. Which OpenAI model? This GPT 3.5 OpenAI model. So here our app, our ChatGPT clone app will retrieves the response from the OpenAI model, and the chat history will be the input to this model. Which chat history? What we have in the chat history? We have the message which user typed, the prompt which user typed. That prompt is the input to this OpenAI model. This line is responsible to write the response in our app using st.writeStream, and then this response is also getting appending to the messages list. So remember, messages list will have all the prompts which user type and all the replies which our ChatGPT app shows. So here you can see, so this is in the messages list, this is also in the messages list. This is the prompt from the user and this is the reply, the response of the model, and we are displaying that response on the screen. How? First we are storing this response in the messages list, and then we are displaying that messages list using this line. Now to run this app, you will just write Streamlit run and then the name of the Python file where we have our code and hit enter, and this will open your app. Right now there is nothing on the screen, that means the messages list is empty. Now we are going to type a question, write a Python program. Let's say you just wrote this. Now I'll hit enter and this question will be appended in the messages list, and the reply from our bot is also appended in the messages list, and we are displaying it. So guys, this is how you can create your own ChatGPT clone, and the link of this code is given in description section. I hope this video is helpful, and guys, if you like my content, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.